Hello guys, this is Joker the Fool. This is my first little video I'm doing here. I've got a whole bunch of Rippaverse graded comics to review. I got a whole stack over here. I got a whole nother stack over here. So, and this collection is every Rippaverse book that's been released so far as of the day I'm filming this. We don't have Yaira yet, Gooding, or Horseman. All those books will be coming out soon this year, hopefully, 2024. But as of this point in 2024, these are all the graded, these are all the Rippaverse books, and these are graded copies of all of them. So we're going to get right into it. We're going to start with the concept art book from the first ISOM campaign. So this was one of 2,000 limited editions. It was 75 bucks. A bit pricey for what it was, considering it's about the length of a floppy. The concept art is, it's not bad, but it's definitely a concept art book. The narration's done by Eric July. It's pretty simple. Eric Weathers letters it, and Marcos Rios is a concept art book. It's all really good. I really like it, but this is definitely a short one. But there's about as much content as there possibly could have been at the time this was released, with basically all the stuff we had from ISOM 1. And it's pretty interesting. You've got Cedric Gaucho, owner of Taylor's Bill. His name is revealed. You've got Valadon, Takari, characters that aren't mentioned that much in ISOM 1, haven't been really delved into. With what we have currently of the Rippaverse, we get a little bit of information in this book. And this is a pretty simple one. It's a soft cover, stapled. Can't really see on the sides because it's in its binding. You just got the Rippaverse comics on the back. This is a very, very simple one, but one of only 2,000 copies. It's graded 9.8. Very nice. So that's the concept art book. We're going to move right into the first cover of ISOM. ISOM number 1, cover A. Cliff Richards did the art. Of course, this is Turnian's cover, also known as Cannon White. It's the name he was going by when he did these covers for the Rippaverse. 9.8. This is a qualified grade. The A through C of ISOM 1, I have these signed, but I did not get them graded with a witness by CGC, so I got them signed for the campaign, and then I got them graded later, so that's why they're qualified grade, because got name written on cover and marker. But that's Eric July signing it, so you can see there. This is a very nice cover, cover A. This is probably the one that people use the most when talking about the Rippaverse. ISOM's very prominent here. You've got all this cool background art. It's kind of like a GTA thing going on. I really like it. Got Igor Chocol's back cover of ISOM, which is very well done in my opinion, and 9.8. Basically all these I have are at 9.8, except for cover B of ISOM 1. Now this is the cover when ISOM 1 was going on that always really stood out to me. In my opinion, this fight between Yaira and ISOM, even though the fight between ISOM and Yaira and ISOM 1 is them in their street clothes, I still think this aesthetic is really cool. I always loved Yaira's costume, her appearance in this, even though we really haven't seen it in comic yet. Hopefully that'll change with Yaira number 1. We'll see that. Go a whole badass alien warrior girl mode, whatever you want to call it. I really do hope we see more of Yaira like this, especially in Yaira 1 that's upcoming. But this is just a really cool fight scene. This is the cover that really stood out to me during the ISOM 1 campaign. Of course, you got the back cover there by Igor. This cover was done by Cliff Richards. And like I said, this is probably my favorite cover from the ISOM 1 campaign, and that's the one that I used as my reading copy for a good long while. And that's what got me started with this whole thing. But this right here is cover C, so this is the mass print cover. Cliff Richards did the art. This is an ISOM versus Alpha Core fight, even though it does not at all happen in ISOM 1. It's just a really cool visual. I'd say I like the way the buildings are drawn in the background. This whole scene just really looks really cool to me. So, which is why Cliff did this cover, because it just looks cool. That's what comics are all about, especially superhero comics. It's looking cool. The same back cover by Igor, of course. This is a 9.8. Again, the qualified grade, just like it was with my cover B. That was a 9.6. Probably just because of how it was signed. And again, these are all signed by Eric. I've got the receipts on that. But I'd say this is definitely a cool cover. It's nice for that. This is the mass print cover. It feels really nice to read and everything. So I definitely like covers. I like all the cover for all the Rippaverse books, but this one I would say is the one I'm most proud of. This is the Creators Edition. I'm pretty sure you guys can see what I'm pointing at right here. So this is the Creators Edition, cover D. This is like one of 2,000. You have to be an Ultramac on the Rippaverse members to get this. 9.8 universal grade. I believe this is probably one of the few copies of this book that's been graded, since there's not that many out there. Not too many people have it. Of course, the same back cover. I do think, I'm not sure if this is in gloss or a foil cover. I haven't really looked at it, but it's just a really cool cover. You've got Cliff Richards doing this cover, and you've got Santuan and Isom here in a nice little fight. This is definitely a bit of a different style between how they both appear in Isom 1, but there's a lot of cool fight scenes between Isom and Santuan in Isom 1 that I think is really the peak of what Isom is in terms of its action scenes. That first book are the fight scenes between Santuan and Isom, and of course they've got a past, so it's very interesting as way, like, hey, it teases at this, but this is Isom number 2, cover A. Of course, you see CGC Signature Series, signed by the great Chuck Dixon, and this is like a Silver Age classic cover. I love Isom and Shodron fighting in here. You've got that street art of him there. You've got this like little comic boss again calling to the the classic comic book era. You got the Rippaverse, code of ethics sanctioned by the Rippaverse code of ethics that appears in basically the front cover of every single book. That code of ethics. It's also on the site, so to have that, very cool. And you also find out why did Isom quit, and he's got I'd say it's a very classic reason. Like, it's something that's definitely been done before, but I personally really like it. I think it works. I think it gives him an interesting ability to have character development. This is a 9.8. Cannon White did this cover, and it's really cool. You can definitely see on the bottom here, you've got this classic, the credits, Eric July, Cliff Richards, Gabe El-Taib, in that like 70s sort of style. I love this, and also featuring the first appearances of Sidney Bloodroof, Gooding, and Shodron. Shodron's here. Gooding, Sidney Bloodroof are all very interesting, good characters that I hopefully get to see more of. Now, you've got this simple back cover here, a little blurb. I'm not going to read it out, but just basically going over Isom's story. Ill-Advised Part 2. I do like this Isom 2 art. But yeah, that's Isom 2 cover A. Now we head on to Isom 2 cover B. This is done by Ethan Van Sciver. You can see his little watermark there he puts on all of his art. And I honestly love this cover. Isom's looking big and buff and like badass in this one, choking out a Hellion. You got Sidney Bloodroof in the way, a nice contrast there. You got this like line of how she's sloping. So just the perspective of everything looks great. You've got the little details here, the way all the lighting and stuff. He's really good at drawing stuff like this. Like, you see like all the hives and cells of honey in Blood Honey and Wrecked Planet. He's very good at drawing those little details. So I definitely give it out to him in terms of just like how well drawn this cover is. And I wish there would be more EVS covers for the Rippaverse, but that bridge between them has been burnt. I'm not going to get into all the drama and nonsense with that, but there's definitely bad blood between the two of them in terms of just having a working relationship. So this is probably the only EVS cover we'll ever get of Isom, but I personally love it. It's a fantastic one, 9.8. This was signed by Eric July, so was my last one, that Isom 2. I mixed it up. That was signed by Eric July, not Chuck Dixon. My Alpha Core graded copies are signed by Chuck Dixon, so I apologize for that. So this is the same back cover as always, and now we're going to cover C for Isom number 2. So this is Shane Davis's cover. This is the foil cover, so it looks really cool. Again, this is signed by Eric July. You've got Isom here punching through. It's a very nice piece of art. Of course, the foil covers are always really cool. And then you've got the back cover here, same as always. 9.8. Not much to say. This is a foil cover. Shane Davis does a really nice cover here, so it just has that cool look. You see, you got Kyle Ritter doing the colors on this one as well. He did the colors for cover B as well. He's EVS's colorist, and he does fantastic work. If you read Starblades, I have. He did all the art for that as well, even the lettering. So that's a great one. And this is cover D. So this is the mass print cover. Again, Eric July signed it, 9.8. Cannon White did the cover art for this, and I personally love this, the way just Isom looks, looking over the cityscape. You've got the skull here, which sort of gets into that, supernatural stuff that Isom 2 gets into. So I always love seeing, like, these little details here. You've got that nice full moon, the buildings in the background. This is a great cover. Of course, you got that Isom #2. I just love this logo. Here you got the credits to the writer, the artist, and the colorist. Gave those great colors for Isom 1 and 2 and his own stuff. Got a little bit of gunk on here, so wiping that off. And then this is just the same old back cover. And those are all the Isom books and the concept art book. Now we're getting into Alpha Core. So, Signature Series. Now this is signed by Chuck Dixon. So I got this correct. So this is cover A, Joe Bennett's cover. He also did the pencil work for Alpha Core #1. Did a fantastic job. I reviewed Isom 1 to Alpha Core of my Substack, so you want to check that out. You are definitely welcome to. But this is just a fantastic cover. You've got Brian, Ingrid, Braxwell. You've got Galvin and Billy Bob here. And it looks like an epic fight scene. I always like the details of Ingrid's, but this little figure 8 here, I just love that. It just sort of makes it feel more grounded and real. And of course, you've got Braxwell looking badass and Solari looking badass. He's got that little Superman curl thing going on, which I kind of like. I just really like this cover. It's a really nice cover. You got the back cover here. So this artwork is epic. You've got this little thing that establishes what it is. Alpha Core 1 isn't quite, it's definitely not a 0. I would love to see an Alpha Core 0 and an Isom 0 as well, but I think Alpha Core 1 is a great book. Really gets into the nuts and bolts of the Rippaverse, and also, you got this fantastic logo. So that is Alpha Core #1. I'm going to set that aside here, and we're going to go right into Alpha Core #1 again, but instead of cover A, we're doing cover B. So Jack Herbert does a cover here. Not too familiar with Jack Herbert, but this is a fantastic piece of artwork. You got Lillian Renashi and Ingrid Valdez in this in this fight here. I mean, just look at that power beam that she's launching there. It just looks so well. You got that fact that's making the wall into rubble, gives it that impact that you need. The Alpha Core logo looking badass. You got Chuck Dixon's signature here looking badass as well. So this is just a great cover. Really gets into the idea of these characters both being formidable forces to fight against. And we didn't, see Michael Copper or Lillian Renashi do any dirty work in this, like this scene would suggest. But we're going to eventually. It's going to be some pretty badass fight scenes. So we've got 9.8 grade. This back cover again. I will always say how much I love this art, especially Braxwell. I love his character design. But that is cover B for Alpha Core. And now we're going into cover C. Again, this is another foil cover. This is Turnian, Cannon White's cover. Again, I love his art. He's such a good artist. He did the Schwartz cover art where I have most of these books stored. Again, you've got the Alpha Core here. They're very small here, but there's a lot of detail here just with how they look. I mean, Ingrid looks fantastic. Braxwell looks fantastic. And you've got Lillian and Michael framing most of the cover of this, and it looks fantastic as well. You might not be able to see this the best, but it's just fantastic art. Of course, it looks really cool with being a foil cover, and like I said, just the way they frame this cover and the way that they look and appear just makes this cover look cool as can be. And the fact that it's foil makes it even cooler. And here's our back art again. And we're going into the last book that I have. This is Alpha Core cover D. This is the mass print cover. This is, of course, the one of the first printing of this one, but this is the mass print cover. This is done by Mark Evans, and I think this one looks fantastic. I mean, this is the most realistic one. The building has got the sort of like blur effect. I forget exactly what to call it. You've got her whips here. They look a little bit like highlighter here. So it could be like a little bit, I don't know, more pronounced, but it still looks pretty badass. I mean, them as like figures look so hyper realistic, and I absolutely love it. Of course, the AlphaCore logo, I'm always going to say it's so badass. I absolutely love it. So this is still a fantastic cover, as all of them are, in my opinion. So I do honestly really like this one. Again, here's the back cover. I don't know, AlphaCore is a great book. Very excited for Yaira as well, but AlphaCore was a great, meaty way to get into the Rippaverse that wasn't, so ISIM focused and launching pad focused. But those are all the Rippaverse books that I have. And this is, one of basically every book that's been published by the Rippaverse, graded copies. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I am signing off now.